Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Build Things Cheaply for my fellow frugal friends. Just in the process of building a deck here tonight. Right before I came on camera, I took a big slosh of the water out of that jar there and got half it down over me, so I look like more of a slob than usual tonight. I'm also not a Red Sox fan. People always ask me that when I wear shirts like this out, but I buy a lot of my stuff secondhand clothing, so I get it cheap, and a lot of it comes from Boston. And that might actually explain why some of the subscribers on here think I have an Irish accent, because if you listen to a Boston accent and South Shore, Nova Scotia accent, they're actually very similar. I think there was a lot of trade back in the day between Boston and the South Shore of Nova Scotia, and they must have had, you know, a very common dialect or accent. Anyways, so I'm building a modular deck design. Sorry guys. I built a deck here for $25. That's 4 feet, 48 inches by 51 inches if you want to be exact, just because of the way the boards go together. In all, I'm using 5 of these here 2x6s. And how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of the deck boards. Now this stuff is all cull lumber, they call it, at the local building supply place. So I'm getting the deck boards womanized for only $1 each. They're cut off at 48 inches. Now they're not always exact, that's why I'm having to cut stuff down. And when I cut it, anytime you're doing that, I always keep the end that was cut from the factory. Usually that's cut straighter and it's already got some kind of preservative on it. So I keep that end and then I try to saw off whatever the bad end is over here. So anyways, all in all, it costs $25 in lumber out of this cull lumber. I hope everybody now in my neighborhood rushes off to the store to buy all my cull lumber. I need this stuff for my projects. Now to cut this stuff, like I say, this is a very easy project because everything measures to 48 inches, so you don't have to think very hard on it. I keep a speed square so I don't have to make multiple marks and then, you know, use a ruler across it. This thing makes your 90-degree angles for you, so that speeds up the process. I've got my hand saw, and this is the tough part. You want to make your cuts as straight as you can, because any kind of angle or crook in your cut, when you go to put your corners together, it makes it that much harder. This is also difficult the closer you are to an edge. Try to cut something straight with a handsaw, the more difficult it is. Oh, Jesus, there, see? Because it doesn't want to bite all the way in. Oh yeah, and on the secondhand clothing, don't support the fashion industry. Buy secondhand. It saves a lot of probably resources on the planet if we do that. Although I'm probably not the most fashionable person. Okay, that angle was, or that cut was probably the worst one I've done here yet tonight. Anyways, that's that. Now, I like to have a nice flat area for putting this stuff together, because that makes this part a lot easier. I've got to nail these two now together, and these aren't going to stick very well until I start getting the deck boards laid down and screwed into place. The frame itself is pretty weak when it goes together, and I just got to try to straighten that up as best I can. And then I'll pause there until I get a little bit further along. It shouldn't take me too long tonight to put another one of these together. All right. All right, that only took a minute or two. I've got to go quick. Dad always says I'm a slow carpenter, but I'm racing against the camera, pausing and timing out or whatever on me. So, my apologies to our 125 subscribers, but we don't do any editing on the channel. So all I have is a pause button. And that was about the maximum time after a couple minutes that I thought I could go. So anyways, we're down to the last board of the frame. This board here is what's going to really support your decking that goes across, so that you don't have any sagging in your deck if you happen to get a lot of weight on it. And I just gotta pick 24 inches from either end to center it as best I can. Okay, that's about good. Check once more. So once this goes together, I'll be on to the decking. There, you can see what we're doing. Okay, so we've got the frame done here, around in our centerpiece. Now the decking goes on, and your decking has to come this way so that again your center is supported by the middle beam there. So here I just start with a piece on either end and line it up as best I can. One trick here to make sure it's flush with the side is just take another piece of wood and do it that way. Okay, and after these two pieces, what I'll do, I'll end up taking another piece and putting it, just nailing it on here so that all the ends can butt up against it, and then I just have to worry about, you know, over there I can mark a line and cut off those ends. So now if I had a drill, this part would go a lot faster, but as usual we're doing everything with hand tools. That's a lot of our channel, is that we do everything with hand tools. All I use for all of this is a hammer and some nails, a hand saw, the speed square, a measuring tape, a screwdriver, and some deck screws. So you need very little out here. I guess this is where things do get slow though, because I should be using a drill for this kind of thing. Anyways, we've got to fasten down the first two of these in order to stabilize the whole thing and to ensure that this is glued, you know, well to this. There's two nails at every spot around the frame right now, but those actually don't hold it very well. It's this here that's going to hold this together well. So I'll flip it off there. I'll get the screws in this, and then we'll look at it after that. Okay, we're back on for fear of timing out. I don't have my little guy with me here tonight to help out, unfortunately. Missing him, as always. So, we're just getting one of the last screws in here. And what we'll have is now, at each corner, we've got a screw here and a screw here, which is now going to hold these seams together a lot better. I should get one dropped here in the middle as well, and after that I can likely pick up the frame and move it without it, you know, shifting on me. Now I do the end pieces first, this one and this one over here, for what I'm just describing, for the stability, but also because it makes it easier after that to space all your other boards. So I've got to get my other deck boards laid in here. And if I start on one end and just went across, there was always the chance I'd end up with, you know, an inch or two out here on the end, which would require me splitting one of these boards up the middle, you know, and that's not something I want to do with a handsaw. Trying to go against the grain and rip down something is hard. So you put your two end pieces on, and then you cut all your boards first, lay them down, you know, by eye, space them even. You might want to measure from the end, and space them all out as best you can, then fasten them down. And again, if you used a hand drill or a power drill, you could do this project. I'm about 15 minutes in, I'd say, to do it to here. But you know, there's 2, 4, 6, there's, I don't know how many screws, but at least 6 screws per board, I think, going across everywhere here. So it's going to take me a while with this old broken screwdriver that I got the handles all busted. And it'll take me a little while to get all of these put down. So I'm going to leave it there once I get this screwed down, and then I'll see if I can move it. Okay, so there it is. Make sure you can see both of those in the thing. All right. So what I'm thinking with this, obviously this isn't supported. This isn't where the deck's going. This is another improvement to our facilities over here at our cabin. Hopefully the barbecue is going to go on top of this, but we're going to need some patio block, I guess. It's the stuff that comes up and it has a cross in it that your beams can sit down in. So we're going to need a number of those and some landscaping done and stuff. But what I'm thinking of doing with a good base underneath it is just taking some bolts now and driving through here and here and bolting each section together. And so each section is $25 in lumber and about an hour in time to put together. I should be able to do an 8x12 deck, let's say, for $150 and 6 hours labor. Not too bad.